Welcome back to another episode of Unranked Podcast. You got Grant, also got Elijah right here with me. Um, Football season, man, it's around the corner. It's literally we like 8 days from the first season or the first game of the season. It's preseason, but I know you be tuned in, Eli. I'll be tuned in on my end as well.
Sure.
So we really literally turn the page. From here on out, it's gonna be pretty much football up until October, November for the most part. Um, Basically, basketball season starts back. But yeah, Eli, man, I'm just gonna kick it off to you. We'll start off a little bit of Michigan football. Just want to see your thoughts, outlook, expectations for the upcoming season overall.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm once again just excited for the season to begin for Michigan football here. Would this be if we can go out and do it again, to be our third Big Ten championship in a row? Obviously got monkey off our back a couple of years ago, came back out swinging last year as well. Just I like the development of the team. I like where we're at. JJ coming into his own again. Kind of been through the fire a little bit. His rookie year had some moments, kind of stumbled. Last year came out, won starting job, mid-September and took off running from there. I'm excited to see another year of his development, full off season where he's healthy. Blake Corum, your man Don. I think we have some weapons. Loveland, uh, Worthy. You can start Cornelius Johnson. We got pieces around returning starters, people who want to come out and prove. That's all they're talking about this offseason is just come out um, and fight for that championship. And I think I both love all that talk and not, because I do think you can't look at you have to know the end goal, but you have to also segment the season in a week to week basis.
Mhm.
And it's something I don't want them to lose sight of, just thinking we only have to go out and beat Ohio. I think, you have to come out each and every week and look dominate. And I think, you know, I know I think we're in a very unique spot because I believe I forget the exact amount. We have a ton of returning talent. Um, a lot of players that you felt like could have maybe possibly took a look at the pros. A couple of good transfers coming in. So I think just a lot of moving pieces that I'm looking for to see Harbaugh kind of hone that all in again for us. Come out and beat the shit out of East Carolina first week. So
Echo the second a lot of that. I think for me, man, like not definitely not gonna dwell on last year, but I think just this is one thing in particular. My guy Donovan Edwards, just hearing like how injured he was to kind of finish that year off. I'm gonna go a couple ways with this. So like hearing how successful we still were as a team, as dismantled we were with some of our best weapons ending last year, and looking at how it finished, I have a whole different perspective on this season overall. And essentially, where I'm at with it is if everybody can just stay healthy and we can just handle like we do what we're supposed to do and just execute what we're supposed to execute. I mean, I think that this year the sky's the limit. There's just so many different things that kind of came into play last year, and the way that we still finished, regardless of all them things, just the injuries. JJ McCarthy didn't have a full training camp, didn't know he was gonna be the starter until week 3. Now he didn't have training camp or spring ball last year, if I'm not mistaken. Now he has spring ball, training camp, another year in the playbook. And yeah, you talk about all the returning starters. Um, if we can just really everybody stay healthy, we got some good depth as well, to where we have, we can go probably 2, 3 deep at running back now. We can probably go, you know, 5, 6 deep at linebacker. We have so much depth at receiver, tight end. We didn't go too crazy in the transfer portal. We just got different little chess pieces just to, bolster and like really like on some like free agents, NFL free agency type shit. Like we just got pieces that we needed to help us win now. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to, having to make up for the recruiting class a little bit. But man, we literally just control our destiny, and we just gotta beat who's in front of us. NCAA gave us a little motivation. They poked the bear. If you asking me, I think we're gonna see San Fran Harbaugh,
yeah,
um, for
yeah.
his 8 to 12 games of the season. I think we're just gonna be on a mission, and I this is the best I've ever felt about a Michigan football team in a very long time. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think there's substance to the team as far as like you're saying. It's not, I don't think it's a lot of question marks. It's a
Right.
lot of proven players. And you just pointed out something I think is a great point as far as the transfer portal goes. I think how we're taking the approach is we're getting just the parts that we need. You know, we might be a little thin at the center. We go out and get a center last year,
Yep.
and a draft pick. You know, won ACC center of the year before he came to us. I we just go out and pick and choose what we need versus trying to overhaul our complete team every year like some other schools might do around the country. Um, and I think that's also shows the strength of the program where we're not looking most years to fill huge voids, kind of like we were a year or two ago. You know, we love the services that Shea Patterson brought to us, but you know, when you're out, you know, hoping and wishing that you can go get a guy that's, you know, looking to run from his school at quarterback, more than likely there's, you know, it's just kind of odd that you don't have somebody in the tuck. But I think now
Yep.
we have a homegrown talent in JJ, and I'm just excited to see what he can do. And you said poking the bear, and I think that's a great point. I think obviously we can get into, I probably have a whole another hour episode on just how it's BS on, you know, just them singling out Harbaugh with some of the blatant infractions that go on across the country, and you know, it's just bizarre to me. But outside
Yeah.
of all that, I'm hoping. I know they said 4 games. I know they've suggested 4 games or expected or however they're wording that.
Hmm.
But I'm hoping that they can, if they're saying 4, maybe Michigan can fight back at 0, and they settle at, you know, 2 games or 3 games. I'm hoping that,
Yep.
you know, is as much as I think we can take care of those first 4 teams without him, I would love to have him on the sideline that much more. And I think,
Absolutely.
you know, so hopefully that could be settled somewhere in the middle when you consider just how wild west all this is now, and how I feel like he's getting punished more for, you know, being a little conservative with his answers versus what he actually did. And I think that's kind of, it's, I don't know, just leaves a bad taste as far as I think they're just always trying to throw the weight around. And I do think this will motivate the team. And you know, yeah, but I'm hoping he can be on the sideline more. You know, can't, I don't know. I wouldn't like to miss a third of the season for that. That is seems
Right.
bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, you want the top guy in charge, on the sideline at all times if you can. I think just overall though, just kind of like look at it on like the optimistic side of things. You kind of got guys like, um, you know, it's not optimistic, but like how this could kind of help the team overall. You got guys that are going to be putting like situational things real time in a game, having to make decisions that a head coach might have to make. Even if it is just Eastern Carolina, I still feel like, they're not putting together a game plan to just beat ECU. They're putting together a game plan to score 80 on ECU. So like now you're gonna like have somebody kind of at the controls, like navigating all that and making sure we need to get the ones out by halftime. We need the twos in there. We had the threes in there by fourth quarter, just kind of like running the clock out. There's just a lot there to where you know it'll kind of help the coaching staff, I think, as a whole. Just kind of like, come something to the plate and just fill in when they need to. And like you said, it might, the 4 games, that is a little funky. Like, that is kind of like a pretty long month. It's kind of crazy. But hopefully it can get down to like 2 games, 3 games where he can just, he kind of just misses out on the non-conference and then kind of comes in when Big Ten play, we get it rolling into Big Ten play overall. So yeah, I mean, I think like you said, we won't dive into the sanctions and the reasoning and all that type of stuff because it does feel pretty feels a little petty.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're gonna do nothing, but I know they're in that locker room. They this bulletin board material fresh from the NCAA. So I saw somebody said on Twitter they like Harbaugh would love nothing more than to just run through the entire big, go to the playoff, potentially win national championship, and have one of the guys in NCAA have to hand him the trophy at the end of the day. We all know how petty he can be too. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
love
looking
it.
forward to just seeing like what kind of fire this lights under the team. As when we get the ball rolling here in a less than a month or a little over a month.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. And I guess I don't want to put you on the spot, but who would run the show? You think? Who would
Um, yeah, I think. I think Mike Hart, that could definitely be somebody. Cause like I feel like if Harbaugh wasn't there, it'd be Sharon Moore, but there he's at least gonna miss a game.
Game.
And
Yep.
Grant Newsom probably gonna miss a game. I think Sharon Moore. So I think the one game that Sharon Moore misses, I think it might be like Mike Hart or Mentor, that might be at the controls. And then I think after that second game, I think it'll just be Sharon Moore just going, until Harbaugh get back because he's literally like he's just a head coach, just like waiting for the right opportunity, pretty much. So
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I didn't know he was. I didn't know about his one game until maybe like a few hours after Harbaugh. So initially, I was like, all right, Moore's gonna run the show. But
yeah,
I agree with you. Mike Hart to fire some people up. He can play 80.
oh yeah, yeah.
um,
He really have him. I really do feel bad for East Carolina, UNLV, or Bowling Green because somebody's getting 80 home on them, like bad. I promise. Probably gonna be East Carolina, just kind of like really,
yeah,
that's
out the
they're
gate.
gonna yeah, they're gonna be holding them back. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be the first, team opponent they see. That's not who they've been hitting against in camp the last month. So they probably gonna get it the worst.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. No, I'm ready for it though. Yeah,
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, go ahead and just kind of jump into the Lions side of things. A little bit more to unpack on this side. Wanted to talk about the draft for a good little bit, and then just kind of touch on, a little bit of the off season, really more centered around training camp, and what we're starting to kind of see and hear about now. So yeah, let's kind of kick it over to you. I know we had some conversations around the draft, but never really dug into it on here. So I just want to kind of hear, let's just thoughts overall, and then we'll dive in from there.
yeah, no. So I think like always with the draft, time really tells. I do think
Mm-hmm.
still a little bit of a couple of people that I think maybe were stretches.
Yep.
But I think that can quickly turn. I'm hearing that Laporta seems to be the real deal. They're saying he's already tight end number one. You're hearing uh, Gibbs is making moves. I've seen a little, him doing the tire drill or net drill, whatever you want to call it. And he obviously looks speedy. I heard he's picking up running back stuff fast. So I think it's one of those where time will tell with a lot, and hopefully, you know, they're coming to contribute this year because this team seems to be on the brink of some things, and
Yep.
throw a couple of elusive players or some people that you just have to respect if they're out there. I think that'd be that much more of a difference maker. And overall, I guess kind of similar thoughts as to the Lions. This or to Michigan. This is one of the better feeling. How I feel best about this team compared to a lot of other Lions teams going in. And you know, a couple players I have not. Have you heard anything about Jack Campbell? I guess I have not heard that name much at all. But uh, some of the other people that we may or may not have took reaches on, whether Jameer Gibbs or Porta, seem to be making splashes sooner rather than later.
Right.
So yeah,
I think just I think what you were just saying, there were a couple in there that we were a little skeptical about. I think you and I talked quite a bit about just the selections in the first round and what we think is fine and what we think can wait, just because there's like almost a surplus at certain positions, and there's only like few like diamonds in the rough at other positions of more importance or significance that you can only get in the first round. So yeah, I think you know back to back years, getting an offensive weapon, in the draft, that was something that wasn't very ideal. But I kind of understand it just in today's NFL. Literally keeping up with the Joneses. We're watching. We have like this tier of QBs that can just really do anything with whoever's out there with them, and then we have this next tier that you really gotta load up on the weapons. You really pick your poison. You're gonna load up on the weapons and try to outscore, or try to load up on defense to where some of these guys are still going to score on you regardless. And I think the new day and age in the NFL is like we got to, it's really going to turn into like basketball on turf essentially.
Yeah.
So like you said, time will tell though. I think, for me, I think over time I was able to be more okay with the Jahmyr Gibbs pick. Um, I think the Laporta pick, that was, I think a lot of people, the sexier pick was like Darnell Washington from Georgia. But I think after like I pulled up both their stats and I saw that like I think Darnell had like 30 catches for like 200 yards, like 2 touchdowns his whole career or something like it was pretty minimal because I think he was essentially to like another old lineman to where Laporta had like 70 catches and like 700 yards in his junior year alone. And I think he's more of like that fit, that mold, what you want in the tight end in this day and age. You just hope if I think we said it like, hell, if Campbell is like half of what Brian Urlacher was, and if Laporta is like half of what Kittle is, if Laporta is half of what Kittle is being a third round pick, I mean, we struck
Right.
gold.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? So there was some stuff, like I said, I think for me, though, still with the Jack Campbell pick, like you made a good point. We haven't really heard his name a whole lot. So that is one where I'm like, you could have definitely got somebody that's maybe a little faster side, just sideline to sideline, got a little bit more to him, even in like the third, fourth round. We watched the Super Bowl champion Chiefs literally have like a third of their defense be rookies from like the fifth to seventh round last year, and they won it all. So time will tell, but I think from like Thursday or that weekend, I think everybody was like, "Yo," but now it's like late July, you start hearing more about how people are doing in camp and stuff. It's like, okay, we might, they might have, probably did the right thing. We'll see overall.
Yeah, I mean you make a great point with the running back situation. And I think it also goes back to I believe they want to like they was it last year, maybe his first year, it was the grit or whatever. I think that was his
Yeah.
motto. And I think that's still what they're trying to build as far as just a rugged team. And if they're going to all in on the run and try to, running down people's throats, play action, and then have a tough defense. I'm obviously I love that blueprint, and I think you can obviously always win games, being able to pound the rock and play defense. So I think if
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're building up, I'm not mad at it. I just think uh, they kind of they're almost as they're kind of taking almost an unconventional approach as far as you just named Kansas City. They're starting running. Obviously, we don't have Mahomes, but they're starting running back as a seventh round pick. Um,
Yeah.
and we went out and spent. I forgot we gave how much did we spend in free agents on that running back? He has one of the bigger running back deals.
I think like 3 year, like 18 mil, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So good little bit of money on a running back, considering that a lot of teams go out and get dudes, making 400 grand out the fifth round, and turn them
Yeah.
into superstars for a couple years. And then we circled the block and went and got Jahmyr Gibbs with a top 10 or a top 15 pick there. So
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of going all in on the unconventional round in modern day football.
Yeah.
But
And it shows our identity, I think, too. Like we're
yeah,
gonna be heavy on the run. We're about to put that O line to work this season.
right. Which I was good. That's my next point is, and we seem to have a great old line.
Mm-hmm.
And now's the time where if we're going to keep that going, this coming up draft, obviously in the future, we should probably start to pick and choose another player or two off there to spend an earlier draft pick on, to
Mm-hmm.
keep that renewed, keep that going. Where you can just
Yep.
kind of plug chug with that, because you need to keep these running backs that you just spent all the money on and drafted high, being able to keep the same momentum they had in earlier season. So I think a couple of bigger things that I do think are question marks are can Jared Goff do it again?
Yeah.
Uh, and and then which defense is going to show up? Is it on pace to be one of the worst defenses in NFL history, or is it the one causing havoc in the backfield and getting lots of turnovers that we've seen the second half of the season? So I think that is kind of the biggest question marks, and if we can have the same Jared Goff as last year and have that second half defense show up, we're definitely a playoff bound team. I think that's
Yeah, and the Jared Goff thing is so interesting to me because, like, what if he ball out again? Like, what if he goes like 4,500, 4,200? Because we run the ball a lot. So he probably go around 40 or 4,000, 4,200 yards, 28 touchdowns, like 6 picks. I mean, I think if he's able to play that well, at that level, that's really all we need. So it's just kind of like, then what? So I think, but like with him, I think one thing too, to even, why we're, that kind of makes sense for me is why we're kind of like going after these offensive weapons because they know that like Goff is like, he's like second tier. So he needs, you know, they need depth, they need
All the
things to be,
assistance they can get. Yeah.
damn near perfect around him and just have like a plethora of weapons for him to be successful. Like he's not, he Mahomes, you can't get the guy around the corner and the equipment guy just, plug them in. You need some bona fide, stars just really on the outside or like some guys with speed, you know what I'm saying? Some like I'm around St. Brown, like we got some
Yeah.
guys, some great,
X
great
factor,
pass catchers.
people that can make it easy for him. He can play
And
pitch and
then
catch. Yeah, where you're
yeah,
you're hitting the dude on a slant and he's taking it to the crib versus
right.
having him be a pinpoint accurate decision maker.
Yep.
But I think he showed me a little bit like if he can, I just put it up 4,400, 29 and 7. If he can do that again, or ninety
Stay out
percent
the
of that,
way.
yeah, yep, yeah,
Stay out of the way.
yep,
That's literally
um,
it.
yeah,
Like it's gonna be based on his play, and then
four
that.
20 29 and 7 is 4 to 1 touchdown interception ratio. I mean, you
Mhm.
do that again, we win it. It's so and I agree with you on that. Stay out the way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think too, man, just like, and we was all down on him. That trade went down. Ain't no secret. I just think like I do always be in the back of my mind, like he did go to the Super Bowl, so he don't see it a lot. He don't see everything. He had some games in LA. I know Todd Gurley was there. They had some weapons, for him, but I mean he's threw 6, 7 touchdowns in one game. He's a part of some pretty crazy shootouts. Against
Yep.
the Chiefs, he beat Mahomes head to head. I think he beat or had a shootout with somebody else. I don't think it was I think Lamar Jackson. They handled him one of them games, but I mean he's shown he can go too. So this is one of them things where like they just trying to load up. I love we got that trade. We traded for Denzel Mims, just another body that might turn into something. We traded like a 7th round pick. So, I'd rather.
Yeah. Anybody that can make it to the Super Bowl, other than like Alex Grossman back in the day, I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're you're a pretty serviceable quarterback. I think if
Right.
you can put together the string of games to get to the playoffs, put together
Yep.
the 3 or 4 games to get to the Super Bowl, you obviously shown you can have moments.
Yep.
And he's had those. He's had a few moments for us. So I think, like you said, try to keep it easy for him. Hopefully the Porter can come be a star. St.
Mm-hmm.
Brown flourish. You get you a little um, Alvin Kamara Jr.
Yep.
and just try to
What's
see
up?
Montgomery some fresh legs, and I think
Yep.
just I agree with you on that. And then hopefully JMO comes back, mid October-ish,
Mm-hmm.
and 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 it should be off to the races by then. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I also feel like just with um this is a little sneaky tidbit here. I heard that we met with Teddy Bridgewater. So that might be. I like that because like we're just like depth. So that's just the biggest thing. That secondary. That's when we can kind of touch on a little bit more now too. Like
100%. And
yeah, it's
cut
like
you
too
off, but
deep.
Teddy Bridgewater, that's the type of knock on wood for him. If Jared Goff go down for 3 games, Teddy Bridgewater can win you 2 of them.
Yeah,
Teddy,
we watched him do it. Minnesota,
mm-hmm.
Miami.
Yep. That's what you need, because especially because Hooker ain't gonna be back. He's probably gonna be kind of mostly sidelined throughout the season.
Yeah, you
So
probably just want to kind of sit him
yeah,
because
just keep
that. Yeah,
basically like a redshirt year for him.
right.
Yeah. So I agree. And another thing with I agree with the Jared Goff contract, or when we signed him, everybody like the contract. Now you're looking at these deals these people are getting.
Like
If he can come,
15th
if he can throw
highest
you 30
paid.
tubs, if he can throw you 30 touchdowns and 7 picks for 30 million, hey, I mean that's what Washington. I mean, I guarantee Daniel Jones ain't gonna do that for New York,
Oh yeah,
and
no.
he's getting paid twice as much as the golf. So I think
Right.
over time that looked not as bad a contract if he's gonna do what he did. For
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, it'll be interesting to just kind of see, he ball out. It's like what we gonna do. Cause I
yeah,
don't know what year he's in. I don't know if it's like last
I
year. If
just
he,
look. He got this year and then the
Mhm.
next year.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
is next year like a player option or something, or where is?
It doesn't say, it just says 2023 he's making 29 million. 2024 he's making the same thing basically. And then 2025 it says unrestricted free agent.
Okay, yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
So we gonna ride it out for a little bit. We got you know, Ben Johnson came back. That worked out really well last
Yeah.
year. And I think too, to just talk about the secondary here as well. Too deep, man. I mean, got off Okuda. We that had to happen.
He
Got
did.
him up out of there for like I think it was like a fourth round pick, something like that. We have CJ Gardner Johnson who scared us all Monday. I'm not gonna lie, he ruined my morning Monday. I was like
Yeah.
literally like,
That'd have been rough like week one. I
to
was
me
like,
that's like our like X factor. If I'm being that's how I feel. Got Tracy Walker coming back, Kirby Joseph, got Brian Branch who probably should have been a first rounder but dropped to us. I think we still have Olu Arie, that he's okay, but
yep.
hopefully this year he not as
Mr.
not
Pass
grab
interference.
not as handsy. He got to use your feet, man. You know what I'm saying?
My man, he's good. My man had like legit what about 4 calls in that one?
Minnesota, yeah. I mean, that was why we lost that game. Essentially, I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but that was a pretty big part of that. So we just have like
Yeah,
I
we
do
do.
wish we would have maybe got a couple more on the D line, maybe just got like a guy or two just to really, because you look at some of these Super Bowl teams, Eagles had
Yeah.
like they was going 9 deep on the D line.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Graham, sixth man, like fifth man off the bench. He had 11 and a half sacks last year. Wasn't even starting. Like I just kind of wish we would have. Like I do think we missed out on Kalijah Cansey. I do feel like that is we're gonna probably regret that.
Yeah.
But I'll say
That's the Jack Campbell pick. Hey,
yeah. So
I agree. And I'm standing on that. That was dumb. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I
Oh yeah. No, for
but
sure. But I think
and just my man turned out to be Brian Urlacher.
right, because that's the one thing, man, with like my like the whole I feel like the whole philosophy just with like defense, at least in my opinion, in football in general, line of scrimmage. That's what you got to control first and foremost. I like that we went and got corners. You know what I'm saying? Like the secondary tighten that up, but I'm like, it don't matter prime time back there if you don't have a pass. Like I think we have a solid pass rush. I think we could have bolstered it up, but I think
Yeah.
you got to really have that tight. That's almost got to be tighter than the secondary because it don't matter who back there. If you're not getting that consistent pass rush, teams can still be
I agree.
successful in the through the
Same,
air.
you know this, but same deal with the O line. You could have Barry Sanders, Patrick Mahomes, T.O. at receiver, Randy Moss. If you don't got nobody at the O line, it
Yeah,
ain't what we're talking about.
yeah.
And I guess uh,
I'm gonna add real quick. I just read an article that Jack Campbell, as of day 4, is now with the starters on defense. So we'll
okay,
see.
yeah,
But I
we'll
still
see.
think we should have got Kalijah Kinsey.
Yeah, we'll see. And I guess the one thing I'll say, I don't know what else you got to say, but I'm just gonna kind of, I guess, randomly ask you this. How much faith do you have in Dan Campbell?
um, I, I just hope he learns from last year. I'll just say that. First half of the season, there are some very situational things, like I just hope that he almost went to bed to a lot of that, like over the offseason, just understands,
Yeah,
situationally, like what needs to happen. Because the NFL, I mean, a lot of these games, they're gonna be one score games. We're gonna be in the mix this year. I feel like we're gonna really be in a lot of like dog fights. So that's when it comes down to like literally possession and just when to go for it, when to not go for it. Field goal, no field goal, running the ball post. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really just got to be dialed in and got to just learn from mistakes. I mean, that Patriots game just haunts me to this day because we literally lost to a third string rookie or second or whatever. But like
yeah,
that, you know what I'm saying? Like I hope he's just kind of like them games. That should be the games you watch and just understand and analyze until you can't see straight anymore because now we're too talented of a team to be going out like that. That's how I look at it. So he got to come along with the team as the team been going.
yeah. No, I agree. I think I mean, we were both calling for his head when we sitting there at like whatever it was, 2-6 or 1-6, whatever it was. And I
Mhm.
think he made a lot of boneheaded decisions then. Um, and I think, uh, like you said, hopefully he is learning. And I'm still kind of on the fence with him, but I think this first month of the season is going to kind of show me a lot. If we can come out and be very competitive, obviously Kansas City's an uphill battle, but if you got to be sitting at probably 3-1, 3-1 at the end of the month. You got to have a flawless coaching record. No going for it on fourth on your 45. All that crazy shit he was doing last year.
Yeah.
I think uh, as bad as we started and as good as we ended, he cost us the playoff spot by some of those earlier decisions. And I think hopefully, like you said, hopefully he learned from that. I just wanted to see kind of what your thoughts were on him, because he kind of has a lot of pressure going into this season as well.
Yeah.
As far as we know, we're talented. Everybody loves Ben Johnson. They act like he's the next you know uh, great young coach, and we're going to be ashamed to lose on him. So I think if you come out and you don't play your cards right, your replacement might be sitting there on the sideline as your OC right now. And I think
Man.
that's kind of what the fan base would kind of be chanting. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I do think that's kind of if the season doesn't start to go as planned, I do think it probably will be due to him. It's not going to be due to talent. It's going to be the X's and O's and making sure more whatever the phrase is, more about the X's and O's and not the Joes. So
Right.
I think yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking. I mean, this first we won't dive much to the schedule today, but just kind of at a glance, first 5 games of the season, first quarter of the season, essentially got Chiefs. You're at the Chiefs, Seahawks, Falcons. Then you have the Packers and the Panthers. So I'm looking at this schedule. I'm like, okay, I think worst case scenario, we should probably come out of the first third of the season at, I say worst case scenario 3-2 with losses to the Chiefs and maybe the Seahawks. But it really should be. I mean, I think that's got to be 4-1. You got see what Gino talking about. Hopefully, we can not let them score 48 again. Gonna have a second year QB. Falcons nowhere near ready to compete, at least in my eyes, from what I've seen. Packers, they just lost one of the greatest QBs in NFL history. Panthers, they walking out, a rookie QB as well. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
I agree with
the
you on that.
cards are laid out. It's really just a matter of executing. And yeah, like I said, I won't dive into schedule a whole lot now, but even the next 5 to 6 games, it's like even in that slot, like 3-2 at minimum once again. So it's out there for the taking. It's just a matter of executing the way you're supposed to.
100%. I know. I'm excited for the season. Like you said, I'm ready to watch some football. I'm watching the Netflix show Quarterbacks. I'm sitting here watching
Yeah,
what happened to the Wildcat on YouTube last night. I'm itching for I'm itching for the football. So
yeah, I'm with
um,
you.
preseason around the corner. We're gonna start to see more practice tape on players.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of just excited to see all that come together. And season around the corner here, like 35 days or so. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be here before you know it. So got preseason starting next Thursday. From here on out, we'll just start to continue to dive into both teams, a deeper scale, and then yeah, really just start to prepare for week one. So
100%.
be with
Yes, sir.
y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.
Peace.